Hello and welcome to today's podcast. This is episode 33. And if you're watching on YouTube, you might be able to see what I'm wearing or give you some sort of idea. If you're just listening to this, the podcast, I have a t-shirt and a Tough Mudder headband on because today we are discussing everything that happened at Tough Mudder. And rather than having just me chatting or one guest, I have two guests today. So that's really exciting. So thank you all for listening. And let's get into the good stuff. So I'm going to bring Ben into the studio. Welcome, Ben.
Hello.
How are you?
I am very well, thank you. I'm nice and full. Just finished my lunch, literally last 30 seconds, but I am really good, thank you.
Good, that's good. So we did London South Tough Mudder together after all of this build up, a year of waiting, me doing training, me worrying. We're on the other side. We did it.
We did. I'm a very, very proud son. You absolutely smashed it.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I have so many words that it's difficult to describe our experience. We laughed, didn't we? From the minute we started till the minute we went home.
I laughed from the minute we started to the minute we got home. You laughed, screamed, cried, laughed, cried, laughed, cried, laughed. That was like the running theme of the day.
Yeah, that is quite true. I do really remember the laughing. The crying, was inevitable. I'm a crier.
If I'm honest, the crying made me laugh more.
I think it's difficult to pick a highlight because there were so many. I think there were a few phrases throughout the day that I didn't expect to ever say. One that springs to mind every time I talk to someone about it is, "Oh, I've not ever had mud in my crutch before." I mean, You just don't hear that, do you? It was okay. I got used to it. It was fine.
Yeah. Well, I suppose the most important question, because you were worried about Tough Mudder from the beginning of this podcast series.
Yes.
The main question is, did you enjoy it?
I absolutely loved every minute of it. And,
fantastic.
Just between you and I and whoever's listening, I probably would do another one. I'm not going to lie. It was really good fun.
You'll be back.
I think you will.
Again. Yeah.
I think we have to just take a moment to talk about my husband, because he doesn't appear on the podcast. He's not really on my Instagram, although I do mention him from time to time. But he did the Tough Mudder with us, as well as Ben's wife, Vicky. But Graham was an absolute star because he didn't do any training. He didn't really think about it. He just rocked up in the trousers and shorts that he'd acquired the day before, in some old trainers that we walk dogs in, and he absolutely smashed it, loved it, and he's the driving force between doing the next one.
Yeah, he was an absolute animal. It was absolutely fantastic. Yeah, he was brilliant. Shall we share my screen and then we can just go through the day if you want?
Yeah, let's do that. So this is,
if you're watching now, go on. You go. It's your podcast.
Yeah, if you're on YouTube, we're now sharing the map of London South, and we're gonna, even if you can't see it, it's fine because we're going to talk out all the way through it. But I am going to let Ben lead it because even though I've done it, now I'm looking at some of these names. I'm like, I can't remember what that one was. I know I've done most of them.
To be fair, it's not the clearest map either, so I'm struggling to read all of them.
Okay.
So, on the screen, if you're watching on YouTube, we have got the London South 2023 season finale map. Obviously, this is all 31 obstacles that you came up against on the day. And yeah, we're going to go through we'll go through each one.
Yeah.
Some of them will be a quick 10 seconds, and some of them, I'm sure, there'll be a bit more of a story. But before we start with obstacle number 1, how did you find? So, from the moment you arrived, actually, you volunteered in the evening before. So, let's touch on that quickly before we go into it. So, how did you find your whole volunteering experience?
Okay, so the volunteering for us was super, super important because I think we've said before, like Tough Mudder is about community, and it just felt like the right thing to do to volunteer at some point over the weekend. So we did camping, and actually it was really nice because it was quite a quiet volunteer stint, but everybody that came to camping had done loads of Tough Mudders. They were all pros. They all had stories to tell, and they were all so excited for us, and we were a bit nervous. I was particularly nervous, but they were also excited for us. And so before we'd even got going, we were being carried on that wave of excitement. And also, I think the other thing I would say is that there were so many different types of people. You can't say a Tough Mudder is this person and fits in this box. Literally, there were people from all walks of life, all shapes and sizes, all different abilities. And everybody was saying the same thing. And everybody was really excited. So I'm so pleased I did it because it helped. It definitely helped.
Brilliant. So volunteering obviously hyped it up, built the excitement, and then Saturday morning we all arrived at the same time. We met in the car park and we walked into the Tough Mudder village.
We did.
How was that first experience for you? Because obviously there's lots of people, there's lots of excitement going on. How were you feeling?
Yeah, I think I was feeling every single emotion that I possibly could feel. I was excited. I was super, super nervous. I don't think I really slept the night before because I was worrying about stuff that probably didn't need to be worrying about. I probably was on the verge of crying because, we've already established I am a crier.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I really wanted to do it. Like, there was never a moment in my head where I was like, oh, I shouldn't have said yes to this. I'm going home. Like, I was up for it. And I knew that I was going to give myself absolutely 100% of everything I had to get around there and have the best experience. And it was really nice. So later on, we're going to have Michelle coming on to chat. And Michelle and I have already done a podcast together. But I managed to get to see her before, and she gave me a big hug, and she's cheering me on as well. And I just love that. Like, everyone's just so excited. It's lovely.
Yeah, it was good. I love the atmosphere in the village before the first run of the day because everyone's like, you get the guys and girls that have been there and done it a lot and they know what to expect, so they're excited, and then you can pick up on the nerves of the people that haven't done it before, and it's really good.
I definitely think that we look like newbies at the Tough Mudder, I would say.
I think
matters, you probably could pick us out.
I don't think it matters. I don't know for all seasoned Tough Mudderers, but me, especially as an ambassador as well, I love helping people, and especially when they're really new people. So if you, like you say, you feel like you're standing out and you look like a newbie, you might. But that just means I'm going to go, come on, let's carry on. Let's go and do this. Get stuck in. So before we went into the warm up, or the start pit, or whatever you want to call it, we did have a quick wander around the village, and you can see some of the obstacles at the village as well. So in the village, we could see Pyramid Scheme, Everest, Pitfall, Electroshock Therapy, and Mudderhorn. And obviously, Mudderhorn is the one that you were worried about. So what were your thoughts just looking at those before we got to them?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm honest, I wasn't really looking at them because in my head, I knew I had to do. I didn't have to do Mudderhorn, but I wanted to do it. That was my absolute nemesis one. I know I don't like heights, but I had in my head that I was going to give it my best and I was going to do that. But I didn't really want to look at it before doing it. Like, obviously when we'd volunteered, I'd seen it, and when we pulled up in the car park, I was like, oh, it's not so high. And then we kind of walked a bit closer and I was like, oh God, yeah, it really is high. So I just wasn't taking it in. I just wanted to get started, and then whatever came, I was going to give it 100% until the next thing and the next thing, and just work my way around. That was my only game plan.
Yeah, no, good. So let's moving on. So time came around. It was time for us to start. We made our way through the I don't know what you call it, like the warm-up chicane,
which you made me climb over.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, before we actually got into the warm-up, they had the hero walls from Little Mudder, which are a little wooden wall that's probably 3.5 foot tall, and we were already wetting ourselves laughing as Mum struggled to get over it. But you did get over it, and that was definitely a good start to the experience.
Yeah.
Obviously, then we did the warm-up where there's lots of people everyone celebrating lots of different milestones, bit of stretching, and then it was time to start.
Yeah.
So straight away we got into it, and we first came up against hero walls.
Yeah.
Would you like to explain to listeners what hero walls are now you've done them, and how did you get on at hero walls, Mum?
Well, hero walls wasn't something that I'd really focused on before. With all the talking, we'd only, like, even though we talked, and I talked with Michelle about different ones, we hadn't really talked about these. So they weren't really in my head. So as we came up to them, I was like, God, these are high. And to be honest, even now, I don't actually know how high they are. I know I had to stand on your legs and shoulders.
10 foot.
Yeah. So I don't like standing on a chair. I was just focusing on, like, Mudderhorn's going to be high. That's bad enough. Yeah, that hero walls were an unexpected challenge.
Yeah.
I did climb on you, and I think if I remember rightly, there were some other men around pushing me and like
Yeah. You
helping as
had
well.
there were lots of people helping.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
you
did
made
it?
it over the first one, was all pretty
Yep.
good, absolutely
Yep.
fine. Second one, is I think it's called a Berlin wall. So let me just explain it for those that don't know. Basically, they're 10-foot walls that are made out of wood, and it's literally like, I don't know, 2 inches thick. So you go up and over the top, and then down the other side. You get to the
Yeah.
second one, which I think is called a Berlin wall. So you go up 10 foot, and then it has a ledge that sticks out over the top of you, which you have
Yes.
to get over and then lower yourself down again on top. So
Yes.
we got you up on top of the platform where you lied down,
Absolutely.
closed your eyes, looked like you were going to be a little bit sick, but didn't. And then you got down the other side all right as well, didn't you?
Well, I think actually my foot slipped and I fell off.
Yeah,
It was fine.
a little bit of a
Got over my
bounce and you're
fear of
all right.
falling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it was fine.
yeah, I think that's where the laughing started. And we
Yes.
laughed from about there all the way to the end with a few tears as well. So
Yeah.
I'll skip through them because we've got 31 obstacles, and I'm very aware Michelle sat there as well, so I don't want to be
Yeah.
having a 10-minute explanation for each one. Second obstacle is my least favorite obstacle, is Devil's Beard.
Yeah. And I have to
Go
actually
on.
say, like, while we're whizzing through these first few, I really like the way that Tough Mudder do this. So, hero walls, it was high. I fell off. I've been on the ground a few times. Obviously, we were on the grass and we did the warm up. Devil's Beard, I know everyone's like, but actually, crawling under that on my hands and knees, although it wasn't muddy, I was already down on the floor.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, oh yeah, you've done that. By the time we'd got to the one that I got really muddy, which I can't remember, was it Kiss of Mud or something? I mean, I'd already been on the floor 3 times. I didn't actually care that I was going on the floor again. So
Yeah.
I really actually Devil's Beard was good for us because it got us down, it got us crawling about.
No, I agree. Crybaby, did we skip this one? I think you skipped this
I
one.
didn't do Crybaby. I discovered that actually I don't like enclosed claustrophobic spaces, which I hadn't really been aware of. And
Yeah,
so I
we'll
didn't do that
focus
one.
on heights. So next year, because you've mastered Mudderhorn this year, next year we're getting you through all the little tight squeezy ones.
Okay.
Hold Your Wood. That was an entertaining one.
Oh yeah, I did that one with Vicky, your wife. We carried
Yeah.
that together.
So that's a log where you carry it on your shoulder, and obviously it was quite heavy, so you and Vicky carried it together.
Yeah.
Human Gecko is like a wall with like rock climbing sort of holds where you have to walk around it in a Z. How did you
I
get on
did
with
find
that
that one. I found that really easy. I just went up, round. It was no problem at all.
Yeah, you cheated a little bit and walked on the ledges that you weren't supposed to.
Yeah, I
But
might have.
again, we were all laughing all the way. So moving on to obstacle number 6. This one was something that none of us had really thought of in regards to your fear of heights.
No.
And I think it was definitely the one where you decided this is where you're going to start pushing yourself, because the rest of it so far had been a bit of a laugh.
Yeah.
This one, Stairway to Heaven. So Stairway to Heaven is a metal frame with a cargo net on it. I don't know how tall it is. I'd say roughly, I don't know, 12, 15 feet possibly. Like, it's not massive, but it's tall enough to make you feel like you're off the ground quite high. And the cargo net moves.
Yes.
So it's straight up one side, straight down the other side. There are some crash mats at the bottom. Obviously, this is something that we hadn't even spoken about. It probably wasn't even in your brain until we got to it.
No, it wasn't in my brain.
So why don't you tell us how we got on at this one, Mum?
So this one was, like Ben said, I was a surprise. I wasn't expecting it. Walked up to it, looked up, thought, oh my God, I don't even know how I'm going to do this. Haven't really thought about it. Ben and Graham were brilliant. They were brilliant the whole way around, actually, but they were really good on these ones. They kept me really focused. What I will say is that the reality of what I was doing to what actually was happening in my head wasn't actually the same thing. And the example that I can give is that at one point, Ben did say to me, Mum, breathe. But in my head, I thought I was breathing. You know, I'm a yoga teacher. I teach people how to breathe. In my head, I was calm. Actually, I was hyperventilating because as you go up, and I was hanging on for grim death, the cargo net does kind of pull away. It doesn't stay straight. It's quite baggy. And I, even now, do not know how I got up, over and down the other side. I mean, I absolutely did do it. I had loads of help. There were brilliant people coming past me saying, take your time, you can do it. There were other people helping me. I don't know who they were. People telling me I'd done well when I got to the end. I definitely did cry.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think
sure.
you cried about halfway up, and I told you weren't allowed to cry because you were on the way up still. You could cry on the way back down.
Yeah, I think you did say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a massive challenge that I hadn't expected, but
Yeah.
I nailed it. I did it.
No, you absolutely
I'm
smashed it,
super
and you
proud of
got down the
myself.
other side, had some wobbly legs, sort of had to
Yes.
sort of go, bloody hell, where am I? Little bit of a
Yes.
cry, and then we were off to the water station where you had
Yes.
a drink and a snack, and we were right again.
Yes, that's good to go.
Yeah. The next few I'm gonna skip. So, oh,
Okay.
my camera's dropped. I don't know if my camera's dropped out on your screen, but it has on mine. It'll come back
Yeah, it
probably.
has.
So
Okay.
we'll miss 7 and 8. So, obstacle number 9, hydrophobia.
Yeah, that was fine. I didn't mind that at all. Like the water was pretty cold. Actually, the water was colder than I was expecting it to be. I'm not really sure
Yeah.
why. But yeah, in and out
It's
underneath.
like an above ground pool with two like tubes that go across it. So you have to go under the tubes and then back up the other side, and under the tube and back up the other side. Obviously, the in a pool where you can see everything, that would be fine, but it's brown, dirty water, so it's a bit more.
Yeah.
I don't know what the word is. Off putting, I suppose.
Yeah. I think actually your wife, Vicky, was a bit of an inspiration for that one because she stood in front of us and said, I don't think I can do this. I don't like this one. I hate this one. And then within 30 seconds was in, under the thing, out and done, and was like, come on. So
Yeah.
after that, we didn't really have an excuse, did we? We were like, oh, come on then, let's go.
Yeah, no, I agree. So yeah, you guys absolutely smashed that. I think the order on the map is slightly out of whack, but
I
I
think it
will
is.
just go with the order on the map,
Yeah. We
and
don't
then
have
we'll
to
come
go
back to it.
through all of them.
All right, it's fun. Walk this way. This was where lots of laughing happened. This was the one where we were walking with our feet on the planks of wood.
Oh, yes.
Would you like to
Which,
share anything about that one?
well, I think really, Ben, you need to share this one because I thought that I did amazing and I thought it was really easy. I don't really know what the problem is.
Right, okay. So, walk this way is it's like two wooden planks, and they've got 2 or 4 like foot loops on each plank. So the idea is that you hook your feet in with your team, and then you walk in sync. Otherwise, you'll fall over. So Mum was in front, and I was behind, and I had to literally like frog march her left, right, all the way to the end, turn around, and come back. And Mum was laughing hysterically the whole way to the point where we were going diagonally across the field. I was going, Mum, turn. She's going, I am turning. I'll tell you now, she was not turning at all. But we laughed hysterically all the way along that one. It was very entertaining. Again, easy obstacle, but very, very funny.
Oh, yeah, super fun. And the thing is, I have to say, like, if I get agitated, nervous, or if I'm just having really good fun or I have to concentrate, if I start laughing, I literally lose all sense of coordination. And
Yeah, I can vouch for that.
it happens quite often. It's part of the fun.
Yeah. What we got next? Funky Monkey. How did you get on with Funky Monkey? Funky Monkey is monkey bars and some rotating hoops over water
Yeah.
that you probably end up swimming in. How did you get on with Funky Monkey?
Funky Monkey, I jumped to reach the first ring. I'm quite small, missed the first ring, got in the water, which was really cold, and just
And
swam.
deeper than you expected as well?
Oh, much deeper than I expected. Yeah, much deeper.
Yeah, so I think we all had a nice swim for Funky Monkey. I think I managed 3 bars before I slipped. So yeah, that was a good one. Electric Eel.
Yes, electric eel was interesting.
Yeah.
So I had discussed the electric part with Graham, and we were like, oh, it's like an electric fence. It's not going to hurt very much. How bad can it be? Easy. I'd already been on my hands and knees and in the mud by this point, so I wasn't fazed by that. All I can remember is as I knelt down, Ben looking at me and saying, Mum, if you get zapped, do not stop. Keep moving. And I was like, okay. But I'm so pleased he said that because about 3 crawls in, oh my God, did I get zapped? And I yelped because it hurt way more than I was expecting. And in my head, I was just like, just keep going, Kim, just keep going. And I did get zapped twice, but it was fine.
Yeah. I also got that. Like electric eel was one of my favourite obstacles. I enjoyed electric eel. I was a bit of a sadist when it comes to the electric shocks. I didn't mind them that much. This time I got zapped on the back of the head and I blacked out. I didn't know where the hell I was. So I'm going to avoid the electric obstacles just for a little while until I build the confidence back up because it proper shook me up. But you did very, very well. And although like you say, you did get shocked twice, you absolutely smashed that one.
Yeah.
skid marked. We skipped that one. That one missed. Walk the plank. I know. Right. Walk the plank was a 3 meter platform that you dived off, or didn't dive off, jumped off into water. You obviously skipped this one because
Yeah,
you were
I
tired by
did.
the time we got to this point, and you wanted to save your energy and your braveness for Mudderhorn, which I think is fine. But what was your experience as a spectator watching other people do walk the plank?
Yeah, so walk the plank is interesting. Originally, I was quite happy to do this, but as Ben said, I'd already kind of done some quite high ones, and I was absolutely exhausted by the time we got there. And when I looked at it, I was just like, if I have to push myself physically to get up another ladder and drop down, I don't think I'm going to have enough oomph in me to do Mudderhorn. And I really didn't want to miss that one. So I did walk around the outside, which was perfectly fine. Like, you don't have to do them all. But to watch people jumping in was awesome, because some people are amazing. Some people literally just walked along. The volunteers are there, to support you. They count 1, 2, 3, and then in they go. And then
Yeah, that
other
wasn't me.
people, no. And like Vicky, she was determined to do it, wasn't she? And you could see from her face that she got in her head too quickly. And then I was chatting to Graham after he came out the water, and we were like, oh, I don't think she's going to do it. She's in her head. And then something changed, and I don't know what it was. And then she was in and away, and then you followed her in. And I'm so pleased that you did, because you really wanted to do this one, because you hadn't had the opportunity, had you, apart from that very
one
first
time where I
time.
climbed up and came back down, 'cause I didn't like it. And I
Yeah.
nearly
So
did the same thing this time. I got up there, I was like, I'm going to do it. I got to the edge, I looked over the edge, and then my whole body went, don't do that. Don't do that. And it took me like, I don't know, 8 and 9, like walks up to the edge. Nope, not doing it this time. Let's go. Nope, not doing it this time. And then the last time I was like, right, Vicky's gone, I've got to go this time. And to be
and
fair, I really, really enjoyed it.
do you think you'll do it again, like next time, if it's on one of
Yeah,
the courses?
definitely.
Yeah.
Now I've done it once, I'll be fine. It's just
Yeah.
doing it that first time. I'm not
Yeah,
sure why
that's
my camera
brilliant.
keeps dropping out today. I'm sorry
Yeah,
about
it's
that.
strange.
As long as you can hear me, it's fine.
Yeah, that's okay.
What we got next? Trench warfare. This was a little hands and knees crawl through a trench with some, I don't know, fabric over the top of it that was surprisingly sharp. Something that you weren't
Very
expecting, I
sharp.
imagine.
I wasn't expecting that. And actually, the next day, I looked like a 3-year-old. My elbows were all like scratched. I had massive bruises, but that's fine. I managed to do that one, even though the claustrophobic thing, I think because the covering was lighter and it wasn't so tight, that was fine. I managed to do that, no problem.
Yeah. Let's skip the next few, and then we are on to Kiss of Mud. So the order is a bit out of whack, but we'll just go for the obstacles. So how did you find Kiss of Mud, Mum? Oh, actually, hang on. We'll explain what Kiss of Mud is first. So Kiss of Mud is a like 20-meter, 30-meter crawl underneath barbed wire that I think is only about a foot off the ground. So it's quite a tight squeeze underneath there. So yeah, how was your Kiss? And it's really muddy. How was your Kiss of Mud experience?
Do you know what? It was fun, but the first, like, getting to the edge and being like, oh god, I've got to kneel down in this. Oh no, I've got to lay in this mud. Oh, because I have to say, I didn't really want to get muddy. I know that sounds silly, but I didn't really want to. And you have to lay right flat and then kind of keep your arms out wide, sort of pull yourself along while pushing with one leg at an angle. I mean, it's not a very good description, but it's kind of my technique. But I did keep getting my hands underneath my body, basically because I wanted to keep my face out of the mud, I think. And so I did clip the barbed wire on my head a couple of times with people shouting at me like, keep your head down. And I was like, oh yeah.
I think I unpicked you once from the barbed wire as well.
Yes. And I was quite aware that there was a man or a volunteer one side with a hose, but I think you did persuade him not to make us really wet, didn't you?
Yeah, I asked him politely not to soak you because it was in the order we actually did it. I think it was only obstacle like 5 or 6. I'm not sure why.
No,
it's
it
on
was
the map
number
in a different
4.
place.
Number 4.
Oh yeah, it was number 4. So I didn't want you to get absolutely drenched because we were only just getting stuck in. So thank you very much to it wasn't even a volunteer. He was just one of the people running the course. Obviously, he's been around a few times, so he knows what's going on. So thank you very much for not poking us at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And so by the time we got to the end of that, because it was proper muddy, that's when I went, oh, I've never had mud in my crutch before, because I literally was muddy from the top of my head to my toes, and I couldn't have got any more muddy, so it didn't really matter.
No, I agree. So let's go. We'll skip. We've got quite a few to skip now, just because either we didn't do them or they're not worth talking about.
Yeah.
So the next one that we got to, this is one that you skipped, but you did watch Vicky and I go through it. And I'd like to talk about it. Is Arctic Enema.
Yeah.
So what were your views as a spectator on Arctic Enema, and why did you decide to skip this one?
Okay, so I didn't do this one because Mudderhorn was the next one, and I was just conserving what little energy I had left. I mean, I can't even explain how tired I was, and it wasn't because we'd just done a 15K. It was the mud, the laughing, the nervous excitement, the being scared. Like, it literally just drains every ounce. So I
Yeah,
didn't
and
have
like it's
anything
not
there.
like a walk. It's not like we're going for a walk through the park either. Like you're in the woods. There's lots of up and down hills. There's lots of rough terrain you have to negotiate. So it's like
Yeah.
you could go for a 15K walk through the park and it'd be lovely, but the 15K like walk, run, whatever through Tough Mudder,
Yeah.
it feels like a lot more because of the landscape you're negotiating.
Yeah, absolutely. But I have to say, like, anyone that does Arctic Enema, hats off to you, because that water is really, really cold, and you don't have to be in it to know it's cold. Like, I could see that from the people's faces
Yeah,
that were coming
you
out
can
of it. It
almost
was
feel the
freezing.
cold from
Yeah,
standing next to it.
yeah, definitely. And you guys did amazing.
Yeah, I don't know how I got roped into doing that. I don't normally do that one, but hey ho, it is what it is. I did it the following day as well. And then obstacle number 27,
Oh, yes.
Mudderhorn. This was your arch nemesis, the thing that
Yeah.
you had been worrying about for the last year.
Yes.
So I'm just going to let you talk. Tell us all about Mudderhorn, man.
Okay, so I have to say, when I stood at the bottom and looked up, I did think, I actually don't know how I'm going to do this, but I was determined that I would give it my best shot. But of course, I hadn't really factored in the fact that the first bit isn't actually a ladder. I've got to scale up somebody to get on it. So, you know, it was fine, but I hadn't really expected that. But I did climb all over Ben, and there was a fabulous volunteer there who also lent me a shoulder. And I had Graham with me, and Vicky was in front. And so I overcame that, and then I was on it. And I have to say, as much as I was scared to go up and over this one is at an angle, whereas that stairway to heaven that we did at the beginning is straight. So at least with this one, you could take a break and kind of lean into it. I'm not saying that that makes it easy, because it absolutely doesn't, but I don't know, there was an element there that was a bit more I don't even know. I don't know, but I think it helped me, the fact that I could lean in. You do also have a net behind you.
Can you just pop that picture up on the screen for us, for those that are watching?
Oh yeah, so if you're watching on YouTube, you can see what I mean about you have to overcome that first ledge, and then there is a net behind you as you climb up. I can't say that I was actually aware of the net behind me. Ben had spoken to the volunteer and explained that obviously I was a bit nervous of doing this. So he was brilliant, and he made sure that nobody kind of came up right close to us, so it didn't wobble anymore, which was super helpful. And I have to say, I love how much everybody really wants you to achieve this. Like, if I had taken all day to get over it, it would not have been a problem. There was no one harassing me to hurry up. You know, I did have a man go past, and I did say to him, "Oh my God, I'm really sorry, I'm slow." And he went, "No, take as long as you need." You know, there was no pressure. So that also really helped.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if you will have noticed it because you were so focused on getting up and over and not dying. But I'd say every single person that came past us asked if we needed extra help, asked if you were all right. Obviously, I was saying no, she's fine. Don't worry about it. We're just gonna.
Okay.
But there were so many people that offered their help. You were obviously far too focused on what was going on to probably even hear that. But
yeah, I wasn't aware of that at all.
There's no rush at all.
So a massive thank you to anybody that was there and offering me help, because I really wasn't aware. I don't even remember that much about it. I literally focused on looking at my hands. I didn't look out because I didn't want to be looking at how high it was. And Graham was next to me going left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. Yeah. Ben was right next to me. And then as we got to the top, Ben went over first. And I do remember laying on the top and not quite being able to get my right foot where I wanted it, and saying to Ben and Graham, "You're going to have to push me over this bit," because I just couldn't get myself. I was hanging on. I was proper hanging on. And then coming down, we did the same. Left foot, right foot, left. I think I was a bit quicker on the way down. I did get halfway down, and I nearly cried, and Ben did say, "You can't cry yet. Like you're not quite there. Keep going. Don't cry." And I did manage to. He did also say to me, "Mum, just take the tongue off the roof of your mouth," because this is something that I say when I teach yoga, and we had actually had a conversation about it earlier on, which did really make me laugh and did really help. But yeah, I'm so proud of myself. Like, I got to the bottom, I'd done it. And I probably would do it again. I'm not saying it would be easy for me to do it again.
You are going to do it again. We are going to do it again this time next year, probably.
Yeah, maybe.
No, there's no maybe about it. You're coming to do it whether you like it or not, really.
Yeah, it's fine. I would do it again. I'm so pleased that I did it. I'm so pleased I did it. Oh, and this was Ben's just changed the photograph if you're on YouTube. So this is us in Pitfall, which was the second to last one. And it's not very deep water. You can see the man standing next to us. But there are holes every now and again. So if you walk along it, you are doing a bit of a Vicar of Dibley where you do disappear. So I actually scooted along on my bottom on this
and
one
laughed
rather
the whole
than
way.
dipping down. I did laugh I did laugh a lot.
Pyramid scheme I did with Graham. You didn't do that one. Everest. I know you didn't do Everest because by the time we got to Everest you were knackered, but there is a comical story that I'd like to put on the internet forever, and I feel like it's only fair that because he's your husband you should share this story as a spectator as well, as you got full view.
Yeah, okay. It's such a shame that we didn't have our mobile phones with us for this, but I mean, you couldn't have your phone with you, it's ridiculous, but if only we'd had someone with a camera or a mobile phone for this. So Graham had on like running leggings and then shorts over the top. And this is like a half pipe at a skate park. And so you literally just run up it and then kind of do a little jump, and you can hold on to the top and someone's there to like help you if you need that extra help. Ben had gone first. He ran up it, got up it, no problem. Was talking to the guy at the top who actually Graham and I had met volunteering the night before. And then Vicky was like, "Oh, Graham's going." Graham didn't seem to be running that fast, but he ran and he jumped. And the man next to Ben went, "Oh, here he comes." And Ben looked round and was like, "Oh, God, it's Graham." And as he reached, they grabbed him. No problem. Started to pull him up. And that's when Vicky and I started to laugh uncontrollably, because ever so slowly and gently, Graham's shorts just started to come down. And they were mid-thigh. And we were like, "Oh, they're mid-thigh. Oh, they're at his knees. Oh, they're..." And by the time they pulled him up, they were at his ankles. All I can say is thank God for his running leggings underneath. But,
honestly, yeah. I was laughing so much when we got him up and we saw his trousers around his ankles. Oh, I've never laughed so much in my life. It was hilarious.
He also thought it was really funny and was really laughing.
It was very, very funny. I think that's... Did we do electroshock therapy? I walked around it after getting electric eel.
No, we didn't do it.
No,
Pitfall
that's
was
fine.
The last one.
So Pitfall was our last obstacle of 2023, but it was definitely... a very, very enjoyable experience. And how did you find, once you'd finished, how did you feel?
I was just so happy. I was really proud of myself because I think that I overcame loads of stuff. I'm going to just bring Michelle in while we're chatting this last bit. Hi, Michelle.
Hi.
I was super proud that I did. I'm super proud that I did Mudderhorn because that was my nemesis. I was super proud of everything that I did. I think I gave it 150%. I couldn't have given any more, to the point that actually the next day, or actually it was a few days on, my forearms were actually aching where I'd been gripping hold of stuff so much. Like my muscles they were shot, but it was brilliant. I loved it. And for me, as your mum, which is going to make me emotional, I was so proud of you. Yeah, sorry. But I'm so proud because I completely understand why you're an ambassador for Tough Mudder. I completely get why you do it. And to see you in action, amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Aww.
See, it makes her emotional. We're not even there.
I know.
It does make you emotional in ways that you cannot explain unless you've actually experienced it, though.
Yeah.
It really does.
It does.
And then for the next few days, you were just finding various little mudder kisses all over your body. I've never seen so many photos of parts of my mum that I don't really think I wanted to see, to be honest.
was so funny because I actually had said that I would do the 5K the next day with Ben and our granddaughter. I literally could not get out of bed. It took me 20 minutes to move to the loo in the morning. Like I did lay in bed saying to Graham, I need to drive to Crawl or to Faygate so that I can do this thing. And he just laughed at me. He was like, you can't even get out of bed. It took me till 3 o'clock to get down the stairs. My body hurt, but it wasn't just like if you do a new workout, you get DOMS. It wasn't that. Like I had DOMS, but actually to touch my skin, like every ounce of me just hurt in ways that it had never hurt before. I mean, it hasn't put me off. I definitely would do it again.
No, you end up coming back, and then you learn to kind of like the hurt afterwards.
And the thing is, the more you do the obstacles, the better your technique gets, and then you don't hurt yourself as much on the obstacles as you do the first couple of times that you do them.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I mean,
Except
Graham
for hero walls, because I've learned how to do hero walls on my own now. But where I flick my leg over, I get a lovely big bruise on the inside of my thigh every time.
That will get better because the first 2 seasons I learned how to solo hero walls. I just spent the season topping the bruise up on the back of my knee.
Yeah.
Now I very rarely get a bruise on it.
I quite like the bruise.
Actually, all of us had a bruise in exactly the same place, didn't we? Which was hero walls.
Yeah. that would have been what people either call the Berlin walls or the Irish table. That's where it gets you every time. Getting down from it is where you get that wall, not getting up.
Mum had no problem getting down off the top of Berlin walls. It just went boom, bounced. Right, Mum, do you want to kick me out and then you guys can chat with, and then I'll join back in a bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we'll just take Ben out the studio for a minute. And then, so Michelle and I did meet at the beginning for a hug and to meet in person, which was lovely. But I didn't see you after that. So tell us about your experience that day.
Yeah. Gutted because I would have loved to have come round with you. But London South is where we all come together to do something that really does bring out the special side of Tough Mudder. And it's actually how me and Ben met. And I know he's mentioned it on the course before, where we come together to do a wheelchair assistance team. And we get an ex-Paralympian called Benjamin Jessen around the course. But this year was something a little bit more special. Last year when we did it, the Tough Mudder managing director, Matt Brook, and the Tough Mudder chief executive, Giles Chater, came around the course with us. Right. And after experiencing it, they said to us, we cannot believe what you guys go through to get him around the course and keep him safe. It shouldn't be that hard, and we need to find a way of making it more accessible. So what they've done is they've teamed up with a company called GM4X, who make all-terrain off-road wheelchairs. And they have commissioned a one-of-a-kind, special-built wheelchair called the Mudmaster for people to use who aren't able-bodied to get around the course.
Oh, that's amazing.
And we were basically trialing it this season. It's gone out on a couple of tests, so people who have done wheelchair teams before can try it out and give them feedback and say, this is what worked, this is what didn't work. So we actually got to go and test that that weekend with Ben, take it around the course and basically try and break it and then tell me that's it. So that's why we wasn't with you, because we were doing that, which for anybody who might be listening who thinks they can't do Tough Mudder because of that, it will be a finalised product next year. It will be available for anybody who wants to use it. You just need to request it. And at this moment in time, they're actually saying it will be free to use for anybody who needs it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Entirely at their own cost. So we got to see the course from a slightly different viewpoint to what you guys did.
Yes.
We were towing a wheelchair around. What made some of the obstacles even more interesting, and you'll very much get this now, every year we do it, we have a joke that we are like reindeers pulling Santa's sleigh, because we tie ropes to the front and go in 2 lines. So it literally is like 2 lines of a reindeer. So this year we decided to dress up as that. So we all had antlers on, which are great fun trying to get under kiss of mud when you're trying to keep your head down. These antlers sticking up, getting stuck in the barbed wire. And they were even worse in Devil's Beard, getting reindeer stuck in cargo nets. We had Santa. I had a very different experience and walked the plank. Like Ben, I've never had to do it before. Ben he can use his legs a little bit, but he has no feeling from his knees down.
Okay.
So whenever he's using his legs, you have to place them for him. But he wanted to walk the plank.
Okay.
So getting him up there was interesting, as is getting him up things like Stairway to Heaven, which amazing. Well done for doing that. People underestimate Stairway to Heaven. In some ways, it's actually a lot harder than Mudderhorn.
Yeah.
But getting Ben up there is difficult. We have a harness on him and climbing ropes. And then we send somebody up first with another harness on that he's attached to.
Okay.
And we send a team up. Then we throw the ropes up and we use Stairway to Heaven or the obstacles to kind of make a pulley to pull him up. And then the rest of us go up the side of him with extra ropes on the side of his harness to stabilize him at the side, and people behind to place his feet as we go. So that's kind of how we got him up walk the plank. Yeah. But then when we got to the top, all the rest of the guys went, nah, I ain't doing this, and disappeared. And then it's just me and Ben at the top.
Oh, no.
So we got him to the end, and then he turned and he looked at me and he went, I don't think I've got enough strength in my legs to jump far enough away to the platform so that I don't bang my head on the back of the platform when I come off.
Oh,
how
goodness.
are we going to get me off the end? So I'm shouting down to water safety, because for those who haven't done it, yes, there are a lot of safety measures, as much as it sounds dangerous. So there are trained lifeguards, water safety teams with buoys and stuff, just in case anybody does get in trouble. So I'm shouting down to them, because obviously they police the obstacle, saying, can he come from a seated position rather than jump? Yeah, that's fine, because obviously they'd realised he didn't have great use of his legs. Yeah. And then I'm like, can I push him? So yeah, I had to push a disabled guy off of the top of the plank, which is hilarious when you see the video that we've got the footage of it. But then it came to me doing it, and I was like a kid in a candy store. Very different experience to you guys. I jumped off, hit the water, came back up, looked at the water safety guys and went, again. There are 6 different platforms on Walk the Plank, for those not listening. I not only did all 6, one after the other, so that I could say I'd done them all. I then realised one of the guys with us, Ryan, had done similar to what Ben had. He got to the top with me and went, nah, not doing it, and went back down. Okay. But it was 25th event, so he was determined he was doing it. So after I'd done all 6, I realised he'd gone back up. But after about 10 minutes of being up there and not being able to jump, he's went, I need somebody to come and help me. Yeah. So I had to go back up because nobody else would go up to help Ryan. And of course, I couldn't just climb back down after I was up there.
No,
so
of course
I
not.
Like 7 times consecutively, just throwing myself off over and over again. I absolutely loved it.
They should give a headband just for that.
I think it needs to become a new challenge, the 6 plank challenge that you have to do all 6 platforms. But yeah, it was amazing. We did manage to break the chair half a kilometre in, which apparently sent all the volleys into mass panic. We managed to... one of the front casters came loose and fell off, so we kind of turned it into a trike. Yeah. So we reattached it the best we could, went along to the first obstacle, and for those listening who haven't done it, all of the volunteers have a radio, so they can radio back through to HQ in case they need any help. So because we knew that, we said to the guys on the first obstacle, can you radio back through and ask the team to tell Gordon, who's the guy who brought the chair, that we need an Allen key. So apparently it kind of went through over the radio as an urgent message that the wheelchair had broken. So all the volunteers that knew we were out on course, every time we got to them, they were like, oh my God, are you guys okay? We heard you that the chair was broken. But yeah, that's kind of why they sent us out as an experienced assistance team, so that we could try and break it. Give feedback. So we've given that feedback. They know how to fix the chair moving forwards, and it will be pretty much indestructible next season. It ate the course up. It needs some breaks downhill, because there was one point where it went faster than we could go and actually ran me over, and I ended up sat on Ben's knee in the wheelchair, where it kind of took me out on a hill. I didn't get out of the way in time.
Oh, goodness.
Like, yeah, I'm just having a ride for a little bit. But yeah, and again, that is like Ben will say to you, we are proud to be ambassadors of Tough Mudder. And it is because of things like that, because there aren't many companies out there that at their own cost, not only will commission a wheelchair at their own cost, but the actual managing director and the CEO are going to go out there with you. They had nothing on them to identify who they were. So they're just running around the course like other people, having everybody climb on them, chatting to everybody. And then a couple of people would realise who they were and like, that's the CEO of the company. And he's just crawling in the mud like the rest of us. Like, yeah, absolutely. And then
that's so good.
So they live by their values that they protest. And like I say, it's one of the reasons why we are so proud, because we get the honour to help people who wouldn't otherwise be able to complete the course, complete it.
Yeah.
To be able to, like Ben says, help people like you do their first, and see people overcome their fears and to help them. Because it is such an amazing feeling. Like, you got to the bottom of Mudderhorn and were terrified. But I bet if you could bottle the feeling you had at the other side of Mudderhorn when you'd realised that you'd done it, it is one of the best feelings in the world. You just
Absolutely. It's amazing. And I think like there were quite a lot of ambassadors around. We were, you are aware of it. We were aware of the volunteers, but actually just everybody is really friendly. There was a part in the wood where we were walking along and we were a bit tired. We were extremely muddy. I can't remember where we were, but we were, and Ben was still skipping. I think he was having a bit of a song, and the lady behind us was like, "Who is that?" And I said, "Oh, that's my son." And Vicky said, "That's my husband." And she was like, "Why is he not tired?" And he was like, "Oh no, I'm absolutely knackered, but I'm going to keep going. I'm an ambassador." And he was like, "Off and away." And it was like, brilliant. She was like, "That's amazing." But that's it, really, isn't it? In a nutshell, it's brilliant.
But it's the atmosphere that keeps you going, because everybody on course is like that, absorbs it, and it rubs off on everybody. So even when you do get to that point where you're like, I'm just so tired, I'm cold, I'm wet, I'm muddy, somebody comes along and you'll get a pat on the back or a hug from somebody or just a high five or a come on, you've got this, keep going. And all of a sudden it gives you that extra lift and you just keep going. It's very much the people that make Tough Mudder.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And I just have so many memories from it. And I can't, to sit here now and try and remember things, I can't necessarily remember them all. But every now and again I'll chuckle because I'll be like, oh yeah, that happened. Oh my God, somebody said that. Or, even just the having to go to the loo in the Portaloo at the water stop, that's great until you have to pull everything back up. That's not easy when you're muddy.
It's an obstacle in itself.
Absolutely. Nobody warns you about that kind of thing.
As he's getting your sports bra off at the end.
Yes.
That's an experience as well.
Yeah, also not an easy thing to be doing. Yeah. But I think the whole thing was brilliant. And like Ben said, even the obstacles that weren't massive obstacles, just like, walking through the trench of mud that happened to be in the forest. I mean, we were at one point, everyone was walking the same way. And Ben said, oh no, I'm going this side because look, this side's much better. And as he went in, his foot went down and down and down and down. Like, you were like, is he going to stop? Is he coming back up? I mean, it's brilliant. And that's not even an obstacle. That's just part of the walk.
It sounds really cheesy, but you'll see it on a couple of signs as well. And you'll hear people say it. The mud will wash off, but the memories last forever.
Yeah.
And they really, really do.
Absolutely right. Absolutely. All right. I'm going to bring Ben back in because I'm really aware that we have all chatted so much, which is lovely. But when I get to an hour, StreamYard will stop and we are only got 10 minutes left. So
that's right. It's just going to be your bumper Tough Mudder episode. I'd like to also add to that. The mud takes ages to wash off.
Yeah, especially at Northwest. If you ever do Northwest, you say you can't get muddier than you did on that course. Trust me, you can at Northwest.
To be fair, I still have to sort out my trainers. My trainers are dry, but there is a lot of mud inside them still. That's still a job I haven't done yet. So I think it would be quite nice to round up this chat with you guys with what is next year going to bring. Like, Ben, are you going to be doing more next year?
So in my diary at the moment, I've got every event next year in my diary. Whether I will actually be able to attend them all I don't know, because it's not the cheapest thing to travel around the UK. But
Yeah.
ideally, yeah, I'd like to try and do every single event next year, as well as the London to Brighton bike ride, and I've also signed up for the Brat Race Sea to Summit at Ben Nevis as well. So it's going to be a busy year next year.
Yeah, amazing. And still going to be an ambassador?
I hope so. I'm waiting to get confirmation, but
Okay.
I'm hoping so. So, and
Brilliant.
then in September as well, we'll obviously be doing your second Tough Mudder.
Absolutely. Yeah. But me and Ben have had this conversation, because he said this before and I keep telling him it's not an excuse. Once you become part of the community, and Ben will get this because he's had it happen a couple of times this season, the community has a way of making things happen amongst them. So they will give each other lifts, they will let each other stay in each other's houses, they will donate volunteer codes if they've got spare ones that they don't use. So yes, it can be an expensive pastime, but if you want to be there, the community will have a way of getting you there. So it's not an excuse, Ben.
No, I know it isn't.
I know. And when we sat and had lunch at the end after we'd got changed, we were, just sort of chatting. And I did say, oh my God, that was a one-time thing. Like, I can't believe that we've done it for the first time at the ages we are. We've ticked that box. And Graham said, I really enjoyed it. I definitely think we should come back and do it again. So I think he's leading that. So what about you, Michelle? Are you going to be doing them all next year?
I don't know if I'm doing them all, because some of them fall on like big family birthdays and things. So there are a couple that I potentially might not be able to get to for that reason. But I will be at the vast majority of them, yes. I will be getting my 40 times headband at some point in the season. Amazing. And potentially maybe 50 if I can get enough in. Yeah. But I'm also a quick plug for British Obstacle Sports, who are the governing body. I'm a technical official for them, which is kind of like a referee for the competitive events. So I will be travelling around doing some refereeing at some of the competitive events, which Tough Mudder do have a couple of competitive events as well. It's mainly, there for the fun and for people to push themselves, but there are competitive ones too. So I'll be getting involved in that as well.
Amazing. So 2024 is going to be an exciting, muddy year.
Yes, and 2024, they are bringing back some of the older obstacles, apparently. So ones that potentially me and Ben won't have done too. So that's
hopefully we'll see Sliding Dirty at some point again.
Yeah, Sliding Dirty will be good to have back. I'd love to see Fire in the Hole, which neither me or Ben have ever done, which is a big slide with a big ball of fire at the end.
Okay.
I feel like fire is the only thing that's missing from the course.
Yeah, we need fire. So 2024 should be a really big year for Tough Mudder, and we're looking forward to it already.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing, and I'm sure that I'll enjoy my second one.
Yeah.
At least one. At least.
Yeah. Oh, it's all good. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I've thoroughly enjoyed that. I really feel like we could probably have talked all afternoon. But I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come and chat to me. So thank you so much, Michelle.
Not a problem.
Pop you out of the studio now. And thank you very much, Ben, for encouraging us to get on it and to come and support us. And it was good fun. We enjoyed it.
Very welcome. And we'll obviously see you in September 2024 for your next event.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Okay, thank you very much. I will speak to you soon.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so I think that kind of gave you a really good idea of how our Tough Mudder experience was. If you are thinking about doing Tough Mudder in 2024, then I would definitely say reach out to Ben or Michelle or even myself, and I can point you in the right direction. It was a lot of fun and we did get very dirty. But thank you so much for listening today, and I will speak to everybody very soon.